I'll do the little intro here. All right, I am here with Tanner Houck of the Boston Red Sox. So glad to have you on the channel. Thank you for so much for coming on. So this is going to be a very special stream because I'm here and we are going to be raising money for a charity that Tanner started up on his own. It's his own thing that he came up with, and there's a little story behind it. So let's just start off with that. Tell everyone a little bit about your charity, what it stands for, and how it really started and everything.
Yeah, so thank you for having me first off. Love being here and love being able to spread the word on my charity, but it all started back really in high school. My mom came to me and my sister at the time and was like, "Hey, you guys are getting older. I would love to, you know, not be an empty nester," as she kind of put it. Um, and at the time, I was all for it. I was thinking like, oh, I'm gonna get a little brother. Like, here we go.
Yeah.
I get to raise another one of me. Like, have fun with it all. Um, and she did the paperwork. We did the interview process, and it was great. The first year, we didn't nothing really came of it, and so I was going into high school. It was my freshman year, and so like I didn't even think of it. It was like back end of the mind. Um, so year passes, and we're just kind of hanging out there, and I'm getting ready to play in a JV baseball game, and my mom comes up like pushing a stroller, and I'm like, "What the heck? What is this?"
Yeah.
Um, And like I asked her, I'm like, "Mom, like, who is that?" And she's like, "I'll tell you in a minute. Do you want a Gatorade?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, I'll take a Gatorade. Who's that?" And because like I saw her like continue to play with like the little girl at the time, and I was like, "That's kind of weird." Like
Right.
someone else's kid that she knows, and like she's watching them while they're doing something else. Uh, and she walks over and hands me a Gatorade, and is like, "Oh, by the way, that's your new little sister. Her name's Rihanna." And like I
Oh,
getting ready to pitch like in a JV baseball game, and I'm like,
just like wow,
like
such a
I,
big yeah.
like I was like, what? Like okay, so
No big deal.
yeah, like this is like first interaction, like day one. So story continues down the line, and like love having her around, and like that summer, like she came with us everywhere, and it was amazing. Like that's how me and like Rihanna have become like this close. Like it because of that, bond of going to baseball games, and she got thrown into the fire real quick, understanding that our family was baseball crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like immediately, like after I signed, and I was hoping, grow my platform on social media and just grow in general. I was like, I don't want to just kind of like go through it and not be able to give back to people. Like I was raised like from very early age, like if you can give back, like give back, like give what you can, like and give to people that are in a less fortunate circumstance. And so like that was initially how we came up with the idea for Pitch for Adoption, just to for me to see how much Rihanna coming into like my life changed it, but to also see like the opportunities that she's had now to do and to pursue, and just like I was immediately like, this is the cause that we need to have. And the heartbreaking thing about it is, from what I've seen and from what I've found online, there's not a lot of other professional athletes that do it.
Mm,
And me to have a voice and to have like some sort of an influence, I was immediately like, all right, we have to do this. Like I
for
like
sure.
do this. This is amazing. And so it started back in 2018 in Salem, Virginia, my first full year of pro ball, and it was, we raised I think like 50, like $1,500, like $2,500, but like immediately, like my reaction was like, all right, that's fine. Like
Yeah,
it's gonna grow with me. It's gonna grow with my career, and I'm just glad I'm getting my foot in the door now. And at the very beginning of my career, because I plan on playing for a long time. I love this game. I love doing what I can, but to have like that kind of like piggyback with me and like to understand like, hey, like if you're a fan out there and like you know who I am, like I hope like they immediately think like, oh, Tanner baseball player, but like also Tanner pitch for adoption, like it like comes
right.
in hand. um so that's really where it all came from. And to have that, like it truly has been a blessing to be able to give back to the kids and go and see them and hang out with them on occasions, and just being around them to know and let them know that, hey, like I'm here to support you in anything that I can do for you guys, and anything that I can, give back to you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's a great um, way to give back. Obviously, you have a platform being a Major League Baseball player, and to do what you're doing is really amazing. So let's go into the baseball aspect part of it. So when you were originally drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays,
hmm
before going to college, what made you go to college instead of just going right into the minor leagues?
I definitely, I'll be the first one to say, like, I wanted to sign right out of high school. Like I
Really?
came onto the scene late. My junior year of high school, I was topping out like velo wise on the fastball at 89, which is still really good. Like that's really good, especially for a junior in high school. Um, but nowadays, you see kids that are freshmen in high school somehow throwing 95.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, yeah, I wanted to sign. Like my senior year, like I put in a lot of effort, put in a lot of work. Um, I got with a nutritionist. I was working out like 3 times a day. I was just pushing my body to like the absolute max. It and then I thank the Blue Jays for drafting me in the 12th round, and I wish we could have signed, but ultimately I have also a ton of educators in my family. My mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, all educators. My stepmom, like, so immediately like education is like kind of first in the family, and like understanding that, hey, like baseball you can only play till a certain point, but like an education and a degree will always be there. And so
Mhm.
looking back at it, like me being 18 and going and signing in pro ball, having no college degree, just a high school one, and if you know God forbid something happens and I have to go back 5 6 years down the road, instead of having only like 1 year of school left, I have all four. Plus, if I want to get a master's or whatever, like stuff like that, it's like go to college when you're 18, 19, start the degree, get drafted as a junior, go to Mizzou, work your tail off, and just grow up. I definitely think on the field I was ready, but off the field, looking back at it, I definitely would have struggled being able to take care of myself. And I am thankful to have that opportunity to go to Mizzou and to have like a kind of a crutch on my side, and just realizing that, hey, like if you're failing off the field, like they can help you in college, but in pro ball they just,
Yeah.
you got to understand, like you're an adult now, like you got to do it. You can't just like go and ask for a ton of help. You can, but it's not as forgiving as college.
Mm, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely not like the life of going right into the NBA or
No.
yeah, or like NBA, like college basketball or college football, like going right into the major leagues. You got a long road from going right to college instead of the pros.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a lot of ways, like you were saying, it definitely helps to get an education, obviously, because you can never lose that. So going through the minor leagues and obviously you got into the major leagues last year. We're up and down this year. Had a lot of experience this year. But who would be some of your biggest mentors over the years, from really day one of baseball to now?
Oh, I mean, they're like, to be honest, like to get to the point that I'm at, like I would definitely say it takes like a team, and it's
Mhm.
hard for me to even like there's endless amounts of people like I could sit there and literally rattle off like that have helped me from day one of pitching or like day one of playing baseball versus to like even now like there's continued to be people that have like always like stepped up in my view of it and having like a leadership or like a mentor type role. Now like this year I would definitely say like having Sale on the team and Evaldi and just guys like that have 10 plus years of big league experience. I mean, I,
Yeah, how can you beat that?
you can't even like me putting it into words isn't even like flattering enough to like those guys because like of how much they've impacted me. Not maybe not by like just talking, but like me walking through the weight room and just seeing like them pushing themselves to like the absolute limit and realizing like okay, like that's where I got to be. Like that's what I have to show up and do every single day to like get to their point. And you, speaking on mentors, like having those guys to look at and just like seeing that, okay, like I can do it. Like, and
Yeah,
they're, you know, Sale this year coming back from Tommy John, but like it, you're talking about a guy that's making 100 something million over the next few years, and he could easily take it to the house after everything, and but no, he's in there working and not giving into anything. So to have mentors like those two guys that I mentioned and countless others, like thank you because it it's
yeah,
pushed me in my career, especially the past like year 2 years of getting to know them and just having our relationships grow.
absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't having a guy like Chris Sale definitely helps for
It-
not only just the pitching side of things, but I would say just the mindset of like how to succeed. Um, so speaking of like a mindset, you were up and down, up and down, up and down all year, and it drove me and a lot of people crazy. It was like, why does he keep getting sent down? It's like, and it was, there was a lot that went into it. But as far as you went, like, what was your mindset? What was your thought process throughout 2021? Just getting sent up and down. Like, I'm sure there were times where you were like frustrated. I'm sure, but overall, just what were you? What, when you got sent down and then you got back up, you knew there's a good chance I'm going to be back down again. Just what was your mindset throughout the whole year?
yeah, looking back at it, 2021 was an incredible year for me off the field, and I contributed to honestly getting sent up and sent down because like I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot on continuing how to bounce back after circumstances that are out of your control and just continuing to show up every day. It goes back to what I was talking about with Sale and Evaldi. Like to see them show up every day and do what they did, like I'm just at the beginning of it. Like I need to do that and more, honestly. So for me, like, during the times of getting sent up and sent down, and I was mostly just trying to stay in that like even zone the entire time, not get too high, not get too low, no matter the performance, no matter like what is happening. Like I'm just going out there and like I'm just gonna go out there and compete. Like I'm gonna show up
Right.
and I'm just gonna compete with myself every day, like in the weight room, in the training room, in the clubhouse if we're playing whatever. Like if I just continue to have fun with it and just show up and just compete with myself, then everything else will take care of itself. Um, I could have been one to get upset and throw a fit, but A, that's not my personality,
Yeah.
and B, I realized it doesn't help anything to sit there and complain about stuff you don't have a control over.
Mhm.
It's really cliche to say that, like, don't get frustrated over things you don't have control over, but it's like I don't. Like I can only control what I do, and if I'm just showing up every day and I'm competing with myself to make myself better, then that's all I have to do. And it made me live a lot easier of a life to go through like certain stuff like that way easier because I never had to like I was never worried about like, oh, I'm gonna get sent down, like I'm gonna get depressed, I'm gonna get like I'm gonna be sad because of it, and I'm not gonna sit here and also say that the entire time I was perfect and I never got upset and I never got sad that I got sent down, or I never had the giddies from getting sent back up.
Yeah.
Like I'm human. Like I definitely did. Like there was times where like I got sad or like I got like super happy, like I was going back up, but like the entire time, like for sure, I was just shooting for like that middle ground, like kind of just like, all right, you don't know if I'm super sad or super happy. I'm just gonna like kind of coast through this and just competing with myself, like I said, and it did really make my life a lot easier whenever that those situations were happening.
Yeah. I mean, your life. I mean, obviously, no one's life is easy, but yours looks pretty easy when you're on the mound. At least, like your expression, like the way you are. Like, so Chris Sale, for example, he is just like he has that mentality, that face, and just that overall mentality of just like I'm going to like kill you. Like when he's pitching, like I'm going to like anyone who stands in my way is going down. You seem more like the kind of guy who's just like, I had Garrett Whitlock on the channel earlier in the year, and he's kind of like this too. He's just more low key, just like I'm gonna get the job done. Like you seem kind of like that too. Like you're just up there, almost like wanting to go right back to the dugout. Like when can this be over? Like
Yeah.
oh, another hitter. Like come on. Like all right, let me just strike you out. Like get you out of here. Like what is your overall mindset on the mound like?
Oh, I mean, definitely. Like, I have the cool, like, calm and like collected look going, but for me, like, I'm definitely just wanting to rip their heads off. Like the entire.
Yeah,
I'm,
really.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like the entire. I want to like do nothing but like just strike them out and like boom, like all right, like here you go. Like here's my best stuff. Like I I might be one of the most competitive people I meet. Like I know, and it's funny because like I'm not like the vocal person at all. Like I'm not the one to be yelling and screaming like on like running off the field. Like it's never been my
Not
personality.
like Nick Pavetta.
Yeah, no, I can't do it better. Like the way he does it. If you ever see me doing that, it it will be one for the history books.
Yeah.
I think I've done it like once, and I
Yeah.
did it in like college, and then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, like, I'm definitely more of just the quiet competitor that you see up there, and it's like, uh, here he comes again. Like, or like if I want to be like, I want to be the type of person that it's like, when you see the name come in, and you're like,
Like, uh-oh.
like this is gonna be a hard day. Like it's gonna be a grind. Like that's what I want hitters to say. Like whenever they see my name, it's like why? Like
Yeah, why do we have to be here today?
yeah. So like if for me, like and it goes back to what I was saying. Like if I can be as like even keel as possible the entire time, like, and you don't know, like, yeah, you may have just hit a solo shot off me, but like you would have thought I just struck someone out.
Yeah.
Like I want it to be like as similar as possible. Like that way,
Mhm.
because I think the whole mindset and the whole like, the way that you perceive yourself, like physically, like is a big thing. Like if you're sitting there and like you're hunched over and like you're looking down, like you look defeated, and I don't want to look defeated.
Yeah.
Also, not going to be the guy that's like shoulders like straight back, like
Right.
chest puffed out, like look how good I am, like because it's a cause and effect. If sometimes I'm like that, like chest puffed out, then other times I'm like shoulders slumped forward, like you're riding a roller coaster to me, and I want to ride nice, easy, like straight path the entire time. So yeah, for me, I definitely look the cool and calm, but like I'm definitely like a volcano inside.
Yeah.
Like okay, like you don't know what you're gonna get with this guy.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. So yeah, game two of the ALDS, I was actually there. Chris Sale comes in unexpectedly, of course, gets knocked out in the first inning, and or he pitched through the first, but then he's done. You're called upon. Just what was that like? Were you at all any nervous because that's so unexpected? I mean, you were not planning to. I mean, you never know. It's postseason baseball, all hands on deck, but I don't think you expected to come in the second inning and go 5 innings or however many you went. So just go in a little bit like, I mean, did you have any nerves coming in? Like, what was that like getting called upon that early?
Well, I mean, luckily, like I had already pitched in like a postseason game, like getting a throw
Mm,
in the New York game, the wild card game
yeah,
here in Fenway. Like I had multiple people like telling me that's the loudest the stadium will ever be. So like, no matter what, like everything else is going to be a cakewalk. Um, so that was like amazing. Like getting to do that first experience. So coming into the second game, I was calm. Like obviously was not expecting the situation to happen the way it did. Um, but I also knew like, hey, like, all right, you got to step up. Like you got to help out the team. Like I've never been one to be like, oh, this isn't the right circumstance. Like I'm more of just like, give me the ball and I'll take care of it.
mm,
And so like in that instance, when I got my name called, all right, give me the ball, I'll take care of it. Like I'll give you everything I have. Like you're not like I don't want anyone to question that. Like I didn't leave any like I left some stuff out there. So getting the ball and getting warmed up immediately, I was like, all right, just do what you can. Like go out there, compete,
yeah,
and just be you. And I think at that point, like I was definitely just being the best version of me, um, throwing a lot of sinkers, throwing a lot of sliders, just trying to keep hitters off balance, continuing to work with Bushy in the dugout and knowing who's coming up, and just staying in a normal routine. And I just treated it like it was like I started the game, to be honest.
yeah,
Even though I warmed up in between the first and the second, like, all right, it's still a start. I got to go at least 5 here. I got to go at least 6 here. Like that's what I was shooting for. So I knew if I just kept us in the game for as long as I could, that I trusted our hitters to come back and do what they did. And obviously they came back and did what they did.
yeah. Oh my, that was incredible. 5 home runs. Yeah, that was insane. And obviously, they don't. With what you did, that might have been the most important thing that game. Um, but so the 2021 Red Sox, I mean, nobody expected them to even make the playoffs, and they ended up being two. You guys were 2 games away from the World Series. What for you made this team so special? Like, what inside the clubhouse overall made this group of guys so special?
I mean, I think it comes down to what AC always told us and like told everyone was we came together as a family, and I I can't speak highly enough of the Red Sox organization and how much they've done for me on and off the field. I truly am thankful for them, and to have them and to be here in this organization like is 10 out of 10. I mean, it really was a family, and a lot of these guys like I can easily call my brothers after this year because no one did count on us at the beginning, and no one believed in us, especially after the All-Star break. But I mean, through it all, like we were still fighting the entire time, and we were still having fun with it. So I think it really did just come down to like we came together as a family, and we had fun doing what we did every day, and we never really were hitting the panic button as I think most
Yeah.
people say. It's like we were just like, all right, it's fine, like we'll figure it out, like we'll do
Mhm.
this, like we're all good, like don't stress. But I think it really did start with us coming together as a family, and also having a guy like AC at the helm to help us and to guide us and be the captain of the ship through thick and thin. I think was another amazing part, and as well as having people in the front office that still believed in this team as much as we did.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of AC, just talk a little bit about. I just love when I hear players talk about what he's like as a manager because he just seems so special. Not only just as like a manager, like he's talented, he knows baseball, he knows what he's doing, and he knows how to lead a team, but he knows how to connect with people. And I feel like that's very important in ways a lot more important than knowing what to do during a game. So, just talk a little about Alex Cora and what he means to you as a manager, and really everybody.
Yeah, AC is. I mean, you said it. Like he's only like a great baseball guy. He's not only just like he's just like he's everything you want as a leader, as a captain, or captain of the ship, I guess, as I always say. But to have him like it is amazing. Like he's not afraid to throw you into circumstances that may be uncomfortable for you, or you may not have experienced before, but he's not afraid to trust everyone, throw everyone in any circumstance as a pitcher. And I mean, on the baseball field, like that's just who he is. Like he's like,
Yeah,
I'm you know what, we're gonna do it. We're gonna win every day. We're gonna go up there and like we're gonna win every second of every day. Like but I mean, I think the best part is like his human element of being able to know, everyone as personally as he does. Like he doesn't know a stranger in that clubhouse. Like he walks around every day saying hi to everyone. Like he's not afraid to, also get in you whenever you need it. So I to have AC as my manager, like it's 10 out of 10. Like it's 100 out of 10
yeah,
because anyone that's ever known him or anyone that's ever been around him has only said amazing things. I remember whenever I was first coming up, like I'd asked, I forgot who it was about him. I was like, "What do you got on AC?" He's like, "You'll love him. Like he's an amazing guy. Like he cares genuinely about you, like on and off the field." So I am thankful for him as a manager, and not only a great baseball mind, but a great person off the field, which I I think is the highest compliment you can give anyone. You know, I go down as one thing. I'd want to be known as a great, teammate in the clubhouse. And for him, like he's a great, manager in the clubhouse because that's all I've had him as. But I'm sure everyone else would say he's a great manager, coach, husband, whatever it is.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he seems incredible. Um, so your slider, like the way, so you're, I guess we'll um, maybe end this off with like a little bit of like your delivery and your pitches.
All right.
'Cause I have some things I'm wondering about, and many people too. But there's been a ton of comments about your slider. like slider grip. What is it? So let's go into that first. Let's go into like you're basically a right. Like everyone's been saying this ever since really you were called up. You're a right-handed version of Chris Sale,
Yep.
and it's I mean hard not to think that when you look at the two. Obviously, you know pitching ninja.
Yeah. I've seen,
Yeah,
yeah, him overlaying it.
yeah, he's obviously that's really cool. And the way, yeah, I mean, it's like night and day. It's the same thing basically, just right and left.
Oh,
Um, what what made you have like what? How did you come up with that wind up and that
yeah.
arm slot and everything? Was it just natural, or maybe a
Honestly,
way you were taught, or
yeah, honestly, it came very, it gets very natural to me.
yeah,
I've never been one to say like, oh, you need to get your arm up here and, have this type of delivery. I do not like the thought of cookie cutter pitchers. Um, I think everyone needs their little bit of funk. Everyone needs their little, quirks. Mine is, I'm very rotational. Like I'm very east to west, as I call it.
yeah,
So for me, like I've never forced that kind of arm action. I've never forced myself landing cross body. It's all been very natural and just letting my body work the way it wants to work.
yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean it's yeah. Um, yeah, so with your slider, how did you come up with that? Like it has really turned into a just I mean a total weapon. It's great. Like it's I, there was one. I mean, every one you throw is good, but like there was one I remember you threw in like game three that just moved so much. I think it was the Wander Franco, and I mean,
Yeah.
and we'll get into like your third pitch too. But how did you come up with that slider?
So back in 2018, at that time, I was kind of going through like some grip changes. Just in general, my slider at the time, I was spiking it, um, and it was fine, but it was very inconsistent. And so actually now, pitching coach Dave Bush, he was a coordinator for us at the time. He called me in the office and said, "Hey, we want you throwing a bullpen today. Like we want you to throw a slider, but like throw it this way." And like he showed it my current grip, and he was like, "This is the way this person throws it. This is the way Sale throws it. This is the way this person throws it." So I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I'll give it a try." Like I don't, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not scared of it.
what can I lose?
If it fails, then no, it failed.
Yeah,
Like not a big deal. Um, So I go out there and I threw it in the bullpen, and it was good. And I was like, they were like, "Well, what do you think of it?" I was like, "I'll keep this one." And so I mean that's pretty much it. Like I'm not one to say that there's like a specific grip to magically make your slider or your changeup or whatever better, because I tried with the changeup. I tried every grip under the sun, and I could still not get that thing to work. Um, but for me, like the slider, yeah, it just came very natural. Having it obviously helps having a low 3/4 arm slot with a very rotational delivery, because that's what the slider wants to do, and it
yeah,
go east to west as hard as possible. So, obviously, having my type of delivery helps with the slider, but for me, it just that's always been my pitch that it's my go-to. Like slider and two seam, those are my babies.
yeah. So you talk about the slider and the two seam, and of course a four seam, but you were pretty much a two pitch pitcher for a while, and that's what a lot of people were talking about. Like, oh, he needs to develop a third pitch,
Yep.
and this year it really seemed like you did. And I know I think on the Bradfo show you did talk a little bit about like in quarantine, like talk a little about how you developed your third pitch. You have a sinker, and is it a splitter? Like,
Splitter, yeah. So I got four seam, two seam that I call sinker,
okay,
slider, and then I got a splitter. Um, so the splitter I just started throwing actually last year in 2020. I started it like 5 days, like 3 to 5 days right before we got canceled from spring training. Uh, so basically, I went home And shout out to my buddy Jake Reichert, because I tortured him for a solid month, throwing in a park. And I was like, I gave him some old catcher's gear, and I was like, Jake, do you mind catching a splitter? I was like, I've thrown it 5 times in a bullpen, and that's all I have. That's all I
Here
know.
you go. Take the gear. We'll figure this
Yeah,
out.
I have no idea what this is gonna do. Here's an old catcher's mitt. Here's some old catcher here. Like, here's a cup. Like, he luckily had a cup, and
Yeah.
I literally have no clue what this is gonna do. And like, like I could just see the fear in his face. Like,
Yeah.
oh boy. Like I could see like the sweat dripping down, and I'm like, okay, this is just not gonna be good. So then we get to the alt site, and up to that point, like I was still throwing it, and it was like, nah, like if
Yeah.
I grade it on like a 20/80 to scale, it'd probably be about a 30, maybe 40. And I was like, okay, like it's just like a bad sinker, like it because at the time it was also like 88 to 93. Like I would like throw it like Salmore, like the way he throws
Right.
92, like that's how mine was, but it wasn't moving like that at all. Like it was maybe moving like an inch, like horizontally and like an inch vertically. So I was like, okay, like this is just like a bad two seam. But at the alt site, like I continued to like push myself with it. And like I would see the flashes of like where it'd be really good, and I was like, okay, like I can work with this. I can really work with this. And so like as 2020 went on, it got a little bit better and a little bit better, and I was like, okay, like I'm really liking this. Like I really like the way it is. Came back for spring training, and it was roughly in the same spot, maybe
Mhm.
a hair better. I had a little bit better command with it, being able to throw it more consistently down in the zone. But really, where I made like my big strides was actually in Worcester this year. Uh, I just had like kind of like epiphanies with it, just like randomly, like doing just different stuff and continuing to throw it. Um, and the rest is kind of history. Like it's very standard splitter grip. I wouldn't say it's anything too crazy. The one person I was leaning on a lot whenever I was first starting to throw it was Evaldi. Him throwing the splitter is an incredible tool to have,
Yeah.
and him got close because of that. So I'd sit there and ask him a million different questions about how he throws a splitter, what he's thinking, what he's trying to do. Um, but it's also kind of hard since he's more of like a over the head guy and
Right.
the rotational. It's kind of hard to translate
Different.
stuff. Um, but this year it's been a lot of trial and error and just kind of throwing it in circumstances that maybe like I'll throw it. Like I threw it in the ALCS this year, and
Yeah.
I mean I got a double play on it, and I was like, heck yeah, like boom, there we go. Um, a year ago, if you had asked me to do that, I probably would have not have done.
Yeah.
I probably would have opted for something else, but it's one of those pitches that I have to continue to develop if
Mhm.
be a starter, and I know I need it, and it's about throwing it and just great. So I've pushed myself incredibly hard to learn that pitch and continue to develop.
So is that definitely something we're going to be seeing more of in 2022, you think?
I plan on it. It's definitely
Okay.
where I've worked so hard to grow with it. Like I want to be able to throw it righties, lefties, any counts. And it also just helps. It helps keep hitters off balance, helps, keeps them honest on my fastball more. They can't be cheating just to that, and they can't say I'm a two pitch pitcher.
For sure. So I guess the last question, we're a little over time. I appreciate so much
No
you for
problem.
coming on. Yeah. So just where do you see yourself? And I mean, I guess I'm just asking a general question about the future. Like, where you see yourself next year in 2022 with this team, and um, it's going to be a really interesting
Yeah.
setup for next year. Like maybe Whitlock might become a starter. I don't know what they're going to do with, there's going to be a lot of, we'll see what happens. But with you, like, how do you see 2022 going into spring training? What is your mindset?
For me, it's just for me, my mindset going into 2022 is just going there with the same kind of like mentality I did this year. Go in there,
Mm,
be a bulldog, earn the spot. I haven't by any means locked up a for sure starting spot yet. So for me, it's going there, uh, come in my best shape. Best throwing I have been really crisp and ready. Just go in there and compete for that starting job. Um, I think we're gonna have another really solid team. I think if we continue to come together as a family and you know just grow as an organization, as I know that they want to every single year. I think sky's the limit. I truly am thankful that I had the experiences I did this year between the wild card and ALCS, ALDS, because I think it really did help grow me and really I think it helped me for not just next year but for many years to come because I've realized I've been in those situations and now I have train I guess like I would say like training in those circumstances and those high leverage situations. So next year when if we make the playoffs, like I know what to expect and how to expect it. So I'm all guns blazing ready for this off season and just super excited to get down to Florida and start my training because I'm already jumping out of my seat. Like I'm ready to go. Like I knew like 2 3 days ago I was like bouncing my leg up and down and I'm just like I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to get this started. I'm itching to get back and ready to play already. And it's funny because the World Series just ended like
right.
days ago.
You're literally 2 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean I'm already ready for baseball to be back and for everyone to be down in spring training and chomping at the bit. So I'm excited for 2022.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same here. I cannot wait. I'm so pumped. Yeah, Tanner Houck, thank you so much for coming on. You're a fun guy to root for, not only because of how nasty you are, but just doing this pitch for adoption. It's really amazing. Thank you to everyone who donated this stream. We raised about $90, so I really appreciate that.
Thank you very
Um,
much, everyone.
yeah, it was really nice. Thank you for everyone, even if you just stop by, because there's still revenue that comes in for the stream, even if you don't donate. So thank you. Just if you stop by, just whatever. Thank you, and we all appreciate it. And so yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Tanner. It was a blast watching you this past year, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you in this Red Sox team.
Yeah, no, thank you really for having me on. Thank you for everyone that's tuned in and been here today. It's something, the pitch for adoption, like I am really passionate about. And so if you guys can, donate by any means or just, go on Instagram, go on Twitter, follow the accounts. Uh, I highly recommend it. They are doing great content on there and helping me out by hoping to push the message more and just I'm excited for 2022. Like already excited to get back and get going.
Absolutely, yeah. And I have the description and the link in the description below for Pitch for Adoption. So, and then I'll put the Dugout Mugs one there too. So,
Thank you. Yeah,
yes,
that's linked on both Instagrams as well. I believe both Twitters as well. So if you
yeah.
yeah go and check those out. Those are amazing as well. I was looking at them the other day. So
Oh yeah, those are so cool. I have one
oh
right here, a Red Sox one.
there you go.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to
we're gonna
get
have,
one of yours. Yeah. So, for sure. So, thank you so much for coming on again. Really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone who stopped by.
thank you.
Yeah. Oh.